Good morning, degens. Good morning, builders. Good morning, future markets. Wall Street isn't reacting anymore. They're preparing. And today feels like a Netscape moment. Is it on? Digital assets moving into view. Infrastructure forming right in front of you. 91 ETF decisions coming fast. Signal stacking saying this phase could last. Capital's watching regulators move. Markets positioning before approval grooves. This isn't noise and it isn't pretend. This is how new financial rails begin. This could be the Netscape moment. Markets waking while they're open. Liquidity moving on-chain today. Finance changing in a major way. If you blink, you might miss it. Smart money already visits. Future markets building right now. XRP ETF rumors starting conversations. Institutions testing allocation rotations. Kraken moving closer to the Fed's front door. Washington asking questions cause they see what's in store. Senate drawing lines around CBDC plans. Private rails expanding across the land. Policy shifting while adoption grows. You can feel the direction the capital flows. This could be the Netscape moment. Markets waking while they're open. Liquidity moving on-chain today. Finance changing in a major way. If you blink, you might miss it. Smart money already gives it. Future markets building right now. Tokenized stocks already going live. Ondo bringing markets that never close at 5. Rare earth metals moving on the chain. Strategic assets entering a new domain. Wall Street moving faster than it appears. Infrastructure quietly forming for years. Bitcoin balance sheet still leading the way. Mara restructuring debt the digital way. Zoom out, look at the rails. Look at the signals, look at the scale. This isn't hype. This is architecture. This could be the Netscape moment. Markets waking while they're open. Liquidity moving on-chain today. Finance changing in a major way. If you blink, you might miss it. Smart money already visits. Future markets building right now. Coffee poured, charts aligned, community checking in on time. Macros moving, conviction steady, and the week strong. and it's Pizza Friday already, O's.
Let's go. It's Pizza Friday, guys. Hope you are doing well. GM. Happy Friday. The markets are a dipping. Bitcoin's a dipping. 66,643. Oh, man. You know, it's funny. I was busy getting ready for the show this morning, and then I was looking at the chart, and I was like, shit, missed that one. And so, you know, we did some looking. We looked at the chart again. We did some measurements. We see other people talking. I got sent a link about some other analysts and traders and charters, basically talking the same thing we were talking yesterday. This thing is going sub 50,000. So I'm going to wait for the next. In the tweet, I put my air quotes. I put quotes pump. We're going to wait for this thing to go back to like the high side of the range that we're in. And from that moment, we will be short until $50,000. And I'm not bearish on Bitcoin. I'm just going to, trying to make some money. And we're going to hang on. We're going to hang on to the short. We're not going to capitulate and get out and get all worried and PTSD about the past. We see where this is going. And if for whatever reason things change, I just don't see that happening right now. The markets there's no reason for anything to pump up well past maybe the particular range that we're in, unless some crazy catalyst happens and we need to bail, we'll bail. But that's why we're going to wait until we get to the top. We're not going to get in at the bottom of this range. And so GM fam, hope you're doing well. My name is Jay Chains, as maybe you know, maybe you don't, maybe you're just tuning in for the first time. Thanks for being here. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed or following wherever you are consuming. We go live on 3 platforms right now. We're working on some more: X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So do what you got to do. If you're on X, which most of you are, I do know that, you're going to want to make sure that you back up out of the chat, even though none of you motherfuckers are chatting. But get into the chat, ask some questions, engage with the community, all this stuff. I'll get in there. I'll open up my phone to the chat right now. But that's the whole point. Let's do that. We're going to go through. I think my goal is to, I'm going to zip through the headlines, and we're going to figure this out. So Mike, as you guys know, homie, Mike, the Modern Canadian, we do our show Wednesday night, Trade Daddies. He's not in the office today. He doesn't have to go to the shop. So he's dropping his kid off at school right now. Shout out to you, Mike. And then he'll be back in the saddle in a little bit. So probably like around 9:30 or so, I'll bring Mike in. So maybe what I could do is, we'll just do some of the normal stuff. We'll do like, here, let's just, whoop. Fannie Mae, that was yesterday. We got to, sometimes this thing gets all crazy on me. There we go. It's just a quick little refresh over in OBS. And then we are good to go. But fear and greed, look at this, back to 14 today. As of the last, it's like a yo-yo. The fear and greed index right now is a yo-yo. It's going between 9 and 14. It's been doing this for the last several days. So we'll see what happens. Fully expect. I actually read somebody post that had gotten a lot of attention on this. I don't know if you guys saw it too. But they had said, fully expect tonight, like at like 4:31 or 5:01, like when all the markets shut down, that there's going to be a crazy war announcement about like troops being deployed or something. Yeah, I don't know if you guys had seen. Thank goodness, by the way, I'm 43, turning. I think I'm 43, turning 44. I could be 42, turning 43. But I think I'm 43, turning 44. At the end of April. But in April of this year, they are going to extend the listing age of, I believe, the U.S. Army or to the Armed Forces to 42 years old. So marked safe from not having to do that. But I shout out to everybody that does join the military. That's definitely just not my thing. But I appreciate anybody who has. Thank you for your giving us our freedoms and all that shit. I definitely appreciate that. LinkedIn on there. Okay, let's go. Somebody yucking it up on LinkedIn. I believe that might be David, but it just says LinkedIn user. I don't know. LinkedIn's been having some issues with StreamYard, so I'm like out of coffee. I drank all my coffee. I didn't get a chance to go downstairs. I got like a half a water bottle. We'll see how things go. Happy Pizza Day, Luca. Appreciate you being here. David in the building as well. Michael Navarro picking up that gold today. As you see, got my Franklin Barbecue t-shirt on. Oh, man, what a place. If you ain't never been to Franklin Barbecue down in Austin, Texas, meat butter. Their brisket is meat butter. You should go try it. It definitely, like, the popularity of it, like, expanded, like, exploded, like, while I was living in Austin, right? Like, I had a chance to like, get in before it kind of got crazy. And then, you know, the lines were, like, hours long. But it was really cool, right? You would, for barbecue lunch, you would go get in line for breakfast, right? Like, and somebody would inevitably be around, or you could, like, walk to another place and get breakfast tacos big time in Austin. But you would sit there, camp out. You could bring your cooler. And this was well before COVID, by the way. COVID kind of wrecked the whole thing. But you would sit out there and you would, like, tailgate for barbecue. And this was a thing, like a long ass fucking line around the building, all sorts of shit. And then eventually there was, like, a coffee truck and a taco truck that was in the parking lot that would, you know, give you some breakfast so you could at least, you know, people who weren't prepared, out of towners, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you sit there and you, like, tailgate waiting for your barbecue lunch, and then they open up and then boom, everybody just goes and gets their barbecue. They sell out by, like, you know, one in the afternoon, so it's a very quick day. A lot of build up for a fast paced lunch, and then boom, you're done. Go explore. So that was, I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, because I'm wearing the shirt. If you're down in Austin, check it out. I would do that. Shout out to the chat. A lot of people going up on posting some stuff on X. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. It is Pizza Friday. We got Mike, the Modern Canadian, coming on in a little bit. The look and feel of the show may change just a bit. Did this not save? Okay. I am on the okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I'll get him in here and then we'll be able to manipulate it live. Because I should have, just make sure these media assets saved. Yes, they did. Okay. All right. Let's jump in because we got about 20 minutes or so before we see Mike, somewhere around there, and we'll get started. Typically, what we normally do, right? What we were with the Fear and Greed Index up into a 14. Let's shout it out over to Coin Market Cap. Their Fear and Greed Index came down big time. So while yesterday, you know, we were a 9, today we're a 14 on CoinGlass. We were a 36 yesterday. 35. We were 35 yesterday, down to 23 today on CoinMarketCap. That's a big jump on CoinMarketCap down. But our altcoin season is at a 47. I don't know. We'll check when we look at the charts, and we'll see. I'll save TradingView for sure until we get Mike, and this way him and I can probably go back and forth between what we're looking at and some things, and this way I can show you that Bitcoin move that I'm looking at. So we'll see if that makes a little bit more sense. I didn't mean to do that. Did not mean to get into the first article. My goodness. Let's go back to Coin Market Cap here. We were going to do altcoin season. That's what we were looking at. And then we were going to go shrimping. Where's Bitcoin at? 23%. So this is going to keep slipping, guys. And some of these numbers, look, 50% down yesterday was the most. And now we're at 57% with, like, Zcash, 56% with ENA, Arbitrum down 53%. So look, hold up. Everybody just hold up. Don't buy altcoins right now. Don't be shrimping. This is what we're doing. The captains, sometimes when we go out, we don't bring the nets. We just go out with the depth finders. We just want to go see what's happening. We're just scoping out the scene in this way. Like, you know, if we ever got to do like a charter and some people want to come on board and they want to watch the shrimping happen live, we got to know the hot spots. You got to know where to go. Like, I actually did run a boat rental company down in Florida for many years for a guy this is when I was a little bit younger, and it was holy cold. It was so awesome. But, like, that was one of the things that I'd have to do is I'd have to go learn where all the fishing hotspots were in case somebody needed a charter for their boat. Like, you know, they didn't feel comfortable riding. There was a lot of sandbars and all that shit down in Southwest Florida, and so you know, it was a pretty at the end of the day, it was a pretty cool experience. Definitely recommend getting down to Southwest Florida if you have not. There's a lot of recommendations for places for you to travel. I've been everywhere, man, like literally everywhere in this country. Alaska and Hawaii are the only two places in the U.S. that I had not been to. And I've been to many other countries. I've been to the entire Caribbean several times. We've been cruisers for years. So get in there. Let's see what's going on in the chat really quick before we get too far away from what is happening. Do want to shout out Michael Navarro for getting the gold medal today. But let's see. DHS funded it. What is it? Blocky in the building. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Poman13. What's up, GMGM? Chris in the building over on X. Let's get it. Let's get it. Appreciate you guys being here. Bear flag breakdown target 39K. What am I calling in line in the sand? Yeah, absolutely. And I think so. Here, I mean, and we'll get Mike's opinion on this too. But this is what I was talking about, right? And this is what I was posting. And we talked about this yesterday. And I've seen some other people. Again, I was linked into some videos of people who are basically talking the same thing. And this is it. Like, this is the move right here. It's a structured thing. I feel like because this market is manipulated, we all know that it is. It's automated. Is probably a lot of machine that has gone into this, and so I feel like it's a little bit more structured than it should be. My question that I'll probably ask Mike is, and this is maybe the only question I've got to how I form this, because right here, do we consider that still part of the drop, or do we consider this right here, the consolidation starts at our first blue candle? Because right here is where we started our first, or I'm sorry, it's like a little micro candle in there. We could zoom into it, but I'm telling you, it's a little micro candle. But it is blue. So your first blue candle off the dip is where I captured that 56-day start. But here's what you can see is right here. This consolidation period was 56 days from basically our first blue candle until we peaked out and we started heading back, and the next candle was down. So that same metric was, from this first blue candle that's right here until we get out 56 days, that takes us till April 27th. That's the start of the Bitcoin conference, which is funny because typically you get a conference pump leading up to it. Wouldn't it be just absolute shit timing if we're all just having a good time hanging out with each other, and while we're at the conference, Bitcoin starts dipping its way down to $50,000? So what I really think is, like, I've measured this out several times in a lot of different coordinated moves. It's like 48.6, 48.9 is where I really feel like is where this move is going to go to. And then from there in the next, because we got to consolidate from there. There's no way that it just it could rubber band, but I feel like we get a little bit of consolidation because we've got to pick up some volume, get some support, all that stuff. And that's the healthy part of the market, these dips. And so we consolidate there. We do see one little flash crash, a little liquidation flush, because there's a lot of people psychologically at 50,000 that would go long just because it's right there. And so we'll get one little and that would be basically the whipsaw that clears out all the longs. And so we're just basically going to be waiting for 50,000, and we're going to short until 50,000. The next time it pumps, we're going to short until 50,000. And then from there, once we get to that level, we're going to hold off until we see the next liquidation flush. So once we get to 50K, that's it, until we see that big liquidation flush, or until we see structure break or something. That is the plan. That's my plan for trading. I hope you guys, you can have your own plan. You can blindly follow. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. And you can say, you know what? I've been thinking about it. That's my strategy too. Boom. Now we're in agreement. There's confluence. So that's what I've been looking at. Let's dive into some articles. Are digital assets finally poised for their Netscape moment? That's the title of the show. That's really kind of the theme of where we've been going, right? Like, where if you look at institutions and enterprises and all of these governments and corporations that are starting to publicly talk about it, right? Like, we know from over the last year that all the major institutions and all that stuff had been deploying concepts and pilots. Citibank is, we know them. Ryan Rugg, she has spoken 2 years in a row at the Ondo Summit, right? And it was very apparent, especially because she did connect the dots and she talked about it too. But the first year when they talked about in 2024, no, we're in 2026. So in 2025, the conversation was, they had their first $1 million transaction in this test market, right? And so, they tried it and it was great. And then now, they're doing multiple billion-dollar transactions through their blockchain enterprise and through, what they're doing. And so it's crazy to see how the institutions they have kind of fast tracked their learning curve in. And I know some people are saying like, fuck the banks, fuck the institutions, they're ruining crypto. I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, what do you expect? Like, it is faster, stronger, cheaper. It is more scalable than traditional systems, especially with where it's going now. Done by design again, like that always brings me back to what we think about for kind of the conspiracy theory of it all. Like, was this done by design by like the powers that be, the governmental entities, the financial entities? Hello, good morning. Is this done by design so that this was the pathway through, or was this something that was adopted because they saw the pure potential of it? Hey, how are you this morning? Can you come in and say hi? Say good morning.
Morning.
Tell them to smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
So we're talking about digital assets poised for their Netscape moment. Now, bless you. Now, you, bless you. Oh, here, go blow your nose. Come back. Go get a Kleenex and then come back and see me. That's kind of an interesting thing when you talk about, the Netscape moment, right? Because a lot of us, at least I know the demographic of my show, it's a lot of people around my age, maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older, but around my age, right? And so, we think about, the Netscape moment, like, because we grew up with no internet. And then at some point, like the internet, infiltrated our life. And now, you think about generations like this who come up, how easy it is for you to get on the internet.
Good.
Yeah. If you wanted to just get on the internet on your iPad, you can just get right on there, right? And you can play a game or watch a show, right? Right now with crypto, it's going through its internet moment. I know. Are you excited for pizza night tonight? Yes. Well, you okay? You got a little cough. I know it. So tonight is pizza night. I hope, we're going to take a quick little break here. Mike should be coming on in shortly anyway. So we can pause and save some of these headlines for him anyway. But it is pizza night, and we are going to be doing a little Easter event, right? We're going to go out for pizza. We're not making it this week. We have made pizza probably the last 2-3 months straight. Maybe one night off we've had. I think maybe we went out one night. Maybe we didn't. And so we're going out tonight. We're taking out our little Emmy here. We're going with our in-laws. And we are going to go downtown Ackworth to some little Easter egg event. We're going to have some pizza. Right? We're going to try, y'all, it's crazy. Several years ago, we had talked about it because right over by the baseball fields where we would play softball, like back in like the early days of our Hit Network, you're right. Back in the early days of the Hit Network stuff, we were all on a softball team, and we used to play, and we would practice it and go over by the fields over there. There was a pizza place that I know we had talked about. I have never tried it, but it's a Quad Cities pizza that has Doritos on it. Are we gonna try it? You don't want to try the Dorito pizza? No, don't do that. Say no, thank you.
No, get you.
Okay, that's my little homie. Okay, well, what are you guys getting? What about let's look at the chat. Let's see if anybody's talking pizza in the chat. We got any pizza orders? Blocky's out of here. Later, Blocky. See you, brother.
Oh, my daddy.
Spicy Doritos? No, I don't. Smells like the Tycho pizza from Casey's. I don't know. I have not had theirs, but it has some Doritos on it, and I think just the nacho cheese Doritos, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll find out today, won't we? I am going to try that pizza. I've always wanted to try that. It's been years. I haven't been over in Ackworth in a long time, and so we'll give that a go. Right? Go have breakfast with your mama. Mike.
Breakfast right now.
All right, well, it's a good time for you to go make it. My guest for the show is here. Say really quick. Say ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Smash the like button.
That's the like button.
And here comes our guest.
He comes my guest.
Here comes our guest.
Here comes our guest.
Mike. Say Mike.
Mike,
The modern
Canadian.
Boom.
Yo, what's going on? Oh, we hear an echo. Hello.
I love you. Ciao for now. All right, let's dress this up a little bit. There we go.
Yo. So I can hear myself.
Okay. That was the one thing that I was worried about. I can do that really quick by installation. You should be good now.
Yo, perfect. Love it. What an intro. Wow. Amazing. That put a smile on my face. Absolutely. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the welcome for me to the morning macro. Love it. Love to be here.
Yes. Okay. So exactly what we talked about last night when we tried all this is that let's see here. We want to add that. And that's what we are right now. Okay. It's all of the scenes that we set up here in StreamYard yesterday while we were on our call, do our little test. All of them vanished this morning because it was a new thing.
It looks good though.
Yeah, I got some okay, so we'll go here.
I'm actually going to be using I'm going to sign up for StreamYards and try to see if it's going to be better for even the adoption pod for Tuesday nights instead of using Restream, because Restream, we've been noticing some of the cams people have been lagging. You disappeared, bro. Where's the chat? Can I see the chat? Oh, there's the chat. Hello. Let me connect my YouTube. Hold up.
Wow.
I couldn't hear you for a minute.
Dude, so it's funny, my entire Chrome crashed the moment I shared my screen. That had the charts and the news stories and all that stuff. My entire Chrome crashed, so I got nothing. We're just gonna have to wing it now. Dude, that was crazy. Yeah.
I'm trying to connect to the chat here, but this says, "Oh, we can't connect your YouTube to the chat." It's okay, that's great.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, it says, "Oh wait, is it working now?" No. Whoops, StreamYard's having trouble connecting your YouTube account. Can it connect my X account?
Should be able to, yeah, because it's oh, and we just lost him. Man, that's live right there. That's what happens. Holy Toledo.
Oops.
There you are.
I tried to open another window. That did don't do that.
Oh man, I was just saying, that is live production right there. That was really funny how all of that happened. Po man, appreciate
it, Po man. I won't be able to join the chat, but I can see it. I will just respond. So yeah, man, we've been talking about that 3-day bear flag, and it is breaking down. So things are happening last night. We were talking yesterday. We were on the I was watching, having the group share with with my trading group, and they were short, right? It was pumping, which is funny. And the short ended up overnight playing out. And I didn't take the short, but I didn't know where we were going to go yesterday. I had mixed messages from different time frames, so I just sat on my hands. But yeah, it's starting to break out. And if we break out of that 3-day bear flag, you're looking at the target's about 48,000 on that. So could be an interesting month. Hey, I'm J Chains.
There you go. Oh,
you see at the
there you go. All right, hell yeah. Okay, so there we go. We got everything back up. So this is exactly kind of what you're talking about, right? This is exactly what we were saying. I've seen a couple other traders talking about this now. This is that move down to 48.6, somewhere around there. I think the 48 level everybody agrees on. The minutia is kind of up for debate based on your lines and where you're starting it. But what do you think about a wick down to the high 30s from there? We got to consolidate somewhere and build volume, build some support, figure out where that support level is, right? And then we can bounce from there. But there will be a liquidation flush. Don't get me wrong, before we see the major move happen.
I think if we do see that next major move, it's going to probably break into the 40s, or low 50s, and then you'll have to make another bear flag before that, another leg down. So maybe that's what the summer is. Maybe you consolidate throughout the summer, and then coming into fall, you have that next leg down, your final cycle bottom, and then into Q4 or Q4 of 2026, we start looking at finding the reversal pattern, right? The what you'll look for. And can I share my screen yet or no?
You should be able to.
All right, let me share my screen, and then I'll show you what I've been looking at, like the like what you want to look for is a bearish divergence. So we'll look on the weekly here. Okay, so if you look at the weekly here, you're going to want to see, like, so in 2022 we had a double bottom, right? You had your first bottom, then we came up for the summer, and then around September, October, we started coming down, and we made our final bottom in November. What you did see was price move down, and at the same time you saw the RSI moving up. So you saw on the weekly time frame a bullish divergence. And that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for that cycle bottom and that reversal on the way back up, which is going to be closer to 2027, probably end of this year. If you map it out, I believe like every bear market has been about, from top to bottom, about 300 and something days. 385 days here. So if you get something similar from top to bottom, 385 days, let's see here, 385 days would bring you to October of 2026, right? October 10th was the top, right? That was your liquidation event. So it again, history doesn't repeat exactly, but it'll rhyme. So September, October, November, like, it doesn't matter if you catch the exact month, no. But just to have that in the back of your mind, and we haven't yet to lose this is what I've been talking about. This is like, if you look at the 3-day, it's so clear on the 3-day. Like it's
I love the different time frames and how even between like a daily and a 3-day, like I could tell you a little bit of a different story that you might see it a different way, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting conflicted messages, because like the small time frames kind of showed a little bit like they could pump, and then they did a little bit, and then they finally rolled over. But the 3-day and the 5-day have been like the two that just keep screaming bear flag.
Yeah.
And you see it here, and it's happening again. Like if you look at this bear flag, we consolidated for about 68 days. And here we've consolidated so far for 51 days. So we'll see how long we go, but we are starting to break down. We're touching the bottom of that trend line. We're just like trying to push through right now. So what I'm looking for, if I'm going to short this, is I'm going to look for this, a retest, and then I'll get in on the retest right up here, and then ride that baby down to 48K.
Don't you think we might hit the high side of the trend again?
I don't know. I don't think so, because the RSI is already like high and curving down, and the stochastic is already starting to roll over here. So if you just look, like, just backtrack, or every time you see the stochastics and the RSI, oh my God, I do it every time. So every time you see the RSI, the stochastic high, and starting to curl down, like just look what price does, right? It comes down, right? And then it oscillates. So I don't know. We are under the neutral line, so we could hit one more top of the channel and continue to consolidate, but this RSI needs to come down, and maybe we just wick below it, and then we might wick, and then we might have to redraw a line like that, but it's still a bear flag. You know what I mean? Like, it's not perfect yet. Like, that's why you don't get in the short now. You'd be front running if you got in now. You want to get in when it clearly breaks, makes a bearish retest, and then comes back down.
Yeah. Okay. That's I guess better waiting until the next time we go up towards the top of the trend, and then going short, huh?
Yeah, well, you can do that too. You can, if you want to short, if we bounce, for example, here, and you want to short it, thinking like we're still going to break down regardless, you can just put your stop loss just above, here. So if it breaks to the upside, breaks trend, then your stop loss is tight. But if it goes down, you get that whole move. Like you could just short it to the bottom of the channel and be okay, right? Like,
but if you catch that whole move, like, that's a good move. I mean, and that's why, like, knowing when to get out, if you're going to trade like that, is having a plan. It's probably half the battle, right? And that's why I'd say, like, once we hit 50K, like, I'm out. Like we may wick a lot lower. We may go a lot lower than that. But at 50K, I'm out, and I feel like that's a safe bet. That I'm not going to get smoked out and lose a whole bunch of profit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like what I've been doing just to protect my capital lately, is just like when I get into a trade and it starts moving my direction, I bring the stop loss at the break even. That way I can't lose a trade. That like I stick with the idea, like the idea is where my take profit is,
Uh-huh.
but I don't need to lose money if it goes against me, right? I can just get into another trade later. So as soon as the price starts going in my direction and I got some wiggle room, I just move my stop loss to break even. That way, and then mentally, that's like it's so much easier. So you can just walk away from the charts and not feel like emotional at all. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you're being it, and that okay, because everybody knows that I like to raw dog the trades. Like I feel better letting the market breathe. However, there are those times where, and that's usually like it all depends, like when you do that. But knowing that once you get your trade into profit and you set your profit above, like even if it's just above your break even point, so that like look, at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen here, no harm, no foul. But if my thesis is right, I will catch this great upside, and I think that's definitely one of the most important things we got.
Oh, absolutely. It's for me, again, everyone, it's got to be personal to you, and for me, trading, it's most I got to manage my emotions as much as possible because, like, if I did the raw doc thing, I have like this weird thing, nagging thing where I hate losing money,
Mhm.
so I will just feel like I'll feel terrible about it, right? So that's why I just bring it to break even, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There'll be another trade, a little bit later.
I love that. All right, well, we can come back to the charts in a little bit. I want to just let's do something different. Let's
Okay.
just, instead of like reading through the headlines and reading through articles and stuff, let's read the headline and then talk about like kind of what what's our
Yeah.
thought on that. Like, okay, and I had my daughter here for a second, right? And we were thinking, and I was saying digital assets finally poised for their Netscape moment. Like I got a chance to actually live that, that Netscape moment, that internet moment, right? Like when we were children, the internet came like right as we were like teenagers, right? Like, so we got to experience both sides of life. We know what this means. And so this is a massive opportunity. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people are scared because they know people who had gotten bamboozled. But, when digital assets become mainstream and we have that moment of clarity and we have that moment of acceptance broadly, what do you think that does for, like, I don't want to say like altcoins. See, I want to say like crypto, but I guess like we can just talk Bitcoin, right? Like it's probably safe to just talk Bitcoin.
Digital assets, like in general, like people have been using for a while now, like but people don't realize it, like think about when you go to Ticketmaster, right? They don't even give you physical tickets anymore, it's all on the app.
That's
When you
true.
go to the movie theaters, you get a digital ticket that's in your your Apple Wallet or your Google Pay wallet. You've been using NFTs and you just don't realize it. Like
I mean,
it's just
same
because it's not on a blockchain doesn't mean it's not a digital asset. It is, right?
right.
Even I know, like the NHL, for example, they've been doing digital collectibles, and it's how they get the younger people in. It's like they advertise to the younger generation to bring new hockey viewers in, and they have like digital collectibles, like NFTs where you can crack a pack and get some cards or like a player's digital collectible. And I believe the NHL partnered, if I'm not mistaken, they partnered with a blockchain. I'm not sure if it was Ethereum or not, but they were doing that, right? So a lot of people have been doing it. I think it's just going to be the normal thing. Like, and anything in my opinion, that uses paper now will be digital.
Mhm.
Will be a
We think
digital
about the US
NFT.
mail. Like there
Pardon
was,
me?
we had a story. There was a story online just the other day about U.S. mail, and I think like they've got to raise rates and all that stuff. It's just like, what are we doing here for? Like, what do we still have to do like the mail for? Like, I get, it's a cheaper solution than packaging. And someone actually even said like, as far as like search and seizure goes, like there has to be like warrants and all that stuff for the U.S. mail, whereas and that's probably for different causes or whatever, but whereas like FedEx and UPS, like they just hand packages over, that kind of a thing. And so like there's some due process and privacy and all that kind of stuff that goes into it, and I can understand that. But what does the shift away from paper anything, what does that do to like the post office? I guess all around the world.
Well, it's like QR code life, man. Everyone's just gonna be scanning QR codes everywhere. Right, you get your package, scan a QR code. You verify, you scan a QR code, right? Like, I was thinking about like how could we think about like Facebook Marketplace? People buy stuff on Marketplace, and there's obviously been theft and stuff. Is there a way that we can have like a marketplace where we can just you lock the money in a smart contract, and then when you find a way to be able to verify that I got the product. And it's it's the right product, and then boom, it releases the funds, and that way it takes it out of our hands, and people don't get mugged.
What if that is like everybody's individual, like your wallet becomes a smart contract, right? And then from there, like if someone says like an inbound, like the smart contract would be able to automatically say, I guess, depending on how that works, right? Like the smart contract could say, yeah, like this is good. Like we approve that transaction because the funds are in there. It wouldn't even require the user.
Yeah, like think of Facebook Marketplace. When you put your item up for sale, for example, you are creating a smart contract, and with all the variables of how you want it to work out. So someone's looking to buy your item, they have all the rules of the smart contract before they even they know, right?
Yeah.
And then you go in, but then I don't that the whole weird thing about shipping and logics. How do you prove that you got the package without faking it? Like that's the whole other thing, right? So you have to take it all away from humans to get trust, right? Like that's why like blockchain. I like blockchain because like I don't have to trust you. Like I trust math, and it's provable by math. I don't have to trust you, but our transaction gets settled, right? Yeah. So there's got to be a way, but it's hard without to do shipping and receiving without an intermediary.
Yep. David says, I do not scan any QR codes for any reason. Brother, I am with you 100%. And that goes specifically like if the time is right and I understand who I'm with and whatever, like if a QR code, sure. But like at a crypto event, in a general public, nah, dog. No.
Yeah. I don't scan QR codes with my crypto phone. I use like device, like if I have like, for some people will like email me or whatever for like interviews and I will literally use a laptop that has nothing on it. So like I will check links that I'm kind of sketchy about with a wallet or a phone, an old phone that doesn't have anything on it. So if you hack it, go nuts. It's all yours.
All right.
I do those things these days.
So it's interesting, right? Exactly where things are headed there. Next article, we got Wall Street is migrating to blockchain faster than most realize, expert insight. I kind of feel like this really ties in, and that's why they're in this order, right? This ties into that Netscape moment, right? Like this is happening. We talk about for years and years and years, you talk about mass adoption of crypto. And if you talk to, the YouTuber, because we were the ones, right? Like we didn't have a mainstream political analyst. It wasn't like that. Like the whole conversation of anybody who had been talking about mass adoption, it was, the idea, and I know you subscribe to this theory, is using the tech without realizing, right? Mm-hmm. When we get to that point. And if you look at, all of the operations and options now where, you've got tokenized securities and all these different platforms where people, and some they're synthetic or whatever, but with Wall Street moving, all of these things over to the tokenized realm, you've got securities, treasuries, debts, bonds, all that stuff is being tokenized. 2 to 3 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the timeline. What do you think about
that? Yeah, I believe so. They're working on it now. Like, stocks are going to be 24/7 very soon. It's happening, and I've talked about this, when you were doing the Web3 breakfast show many times, that like it's going to get to a point where everybody, all the big institutions are using it, and everybody gets in, big banks, and then like now they're incentivized to sell it to retail. They're incentivized to sell it to. You're going to see the commercials come back about. It's just going to be part of everyday life. I feel like you're starting to see a lot of that in sports now, because I see Crypto.com everywhere. F1. I
Yeah.
see it in the NHL, UFC. I see it everywhere, and
Yeah, we got the
it's
radio.
just become a brand that everybody is just kind of seeing because if you're a sports fan, you're probably going to see a crypto.com logo somewhere, right? Even in soccer, like it's everywhere. So I feel like you're getting there. It's going to become more normal. And when you see like like President Trump being pro crypto, you hear crypto, you hear Bitcoin. I want to be the Bitcoin president. Like you start to hear these things more often, and it'll be on the news and all that. So it'll just become a normal thing. It takes time for people to get on board. It's like I look at crypto as like a generational thing. Maybe my parents won't use it, or a lot of the older generations, because they've already worked their whole life, they've already saved, they already have their pensions or whatever their retirement funds are. But it's us and people younger than us that need this, because they're not going to have the pensions that our parents had. They're not going to have all that, all the the safety, and your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to when our parents were growing up. So yeah, you're definitely going to need it. And like didn't we just talk about on our show Trade Daddies that they're going to have 24/7 trading of the Nasdaq, like everything, like all the stocks, like all the stock exchanges pretty soon. So that's going to be very interesting to see, like be able to trade like the S&P 500 24 hours a day, like Bitcoin. Like that's going to be interesting to see how that goes, or if there's more manipulation. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, it's happening. It's happening 3 or 4 years. I think me and you both agree 2028 or 2030 it's going to be like huge.
Yeah, no, 100%. So okay, with that being said, let's take a look at so we were talking about like the mainstream adoption. We talked about crypto.com. Yesterday, there was some news about Cardano. And I'm going to look at these two charts on CoinMarketCap, and then we can talk about this, because like crypto.com, like Chronos is their token. Like it is just, here, let me share this tab so you can see this. It's down. It's like, you would think something that has the attention of stadiums, pretty much every pro sport league you could imagine. They got the best domain name in the world, crypto.com. That thing is still struggling, right? You look at projects like damn it. That's not what I wanted. Cardano. Yesterday it was and I'm using this because, like, look, yesterday, and we'll put this on the weekly. Yesterday, it was announced that Cardano will be facilitating, basically bringing the banks of the UK on chain. Like they're doing like $2 billion. I think it was $2 billion, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, worth of like art of tokenization for the Bank of like London or something, somewhere in the UK.
To be honest, like my honest opinion, I think altcoins like this, because the space is kind of new, a lot of things are overvalued. Altcoins have been historically overvalued forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, let me look at CoinMarketCap really quickly. I want to just see the market cap of a Cardano, for example. So Cardano is what, 12 billion. Is Cardano really a $12 billion company? Like, are they making that enough revenue to be able to support that? So that's
Mike, you know that I didn't think so up until this became news. I don't know if we can take Cardano seriously yet, but Cardano secures a UK bank deal to tokenize GBP deposits. Like, that is worth a lot of money. So when you say, are they worth 2 billion? Yeah, they could be. They could be worth trillions.
They could be, but we need to see it actually happen, right? We need to see those deposits coming in.
Africa, like I didn't know that they were doing stuff on like RWA and tokenization. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, what is Charles doing with Wells in Africa right now? That was the joke.
So you need. I still think like I think that like altcoins are just historically overvalued, so they're kind of coming back down to earth. And it's so weird in this space because you do have coins that are doing really good things. Like look at Chainlink, for example. Chainlink is literally, if any blockchain needs to use information from the outside, you got to use Chainlink. Like it's one of those things, right? It suffers from the same thing where that 4-year cycle and altcoins kind of get dumped. But I just think altcoins get really overvalued in the bull market. But I think you're gonna start to see less and less of that because we're things that are led by speculation probably won't happen anymore. There's just too many coins out there and not enough attention.
Here's
be able to
here's
support it.
here's a long opportunity for everybody right now. Look at this chart. Every time it dips into the red, you go long. It goes into the green. You make money. You close out every fucking time. Look at
Yeah.
that. We are.
But
at the bottom
but
of
look
this-
how much better that looks than Cardano or crypto.com, because this is actually has to be used. Like it needs to be used. There's not much else competing
this
with
is
it.
infrastructure. Chainlink is infrastructure. Like this is it's a play. Like when we talk about and I'm with you like on altcoins. Like I don't anticipate really telling too many altcoin like success stories in the near future. I feel like it's gonna be few and far between, and you have to be infrastructure related to even matter moving forward, especially in the next little bit here. And Chainlink is one of them. I did this video on Uniswap the other day, man. I don't think they're just a DeFi swap token anymore.
They're
I think
pivoting.
they're running with the big boys. I think that is going to be an infrastructure play, especially on the tokenization of capital markets. Like they're gonna provide some liquidity layers, and it's a smart play long term. Like not right now, not hype cycle. Some of these aren't going to be. None of this is sexy. None of this is sexy right now, and that's the point about infrastructure. But that is where the opportunity is.
Yeah, you're just starting to see these blockchains kind of go with the flow instead of like fighting the current, right? Like it's all about institutional adoption. So either you get on that boat and you can ride the wave, and there's money for everybody out there to eat, or you can fight the current, which is kind of what I felt like Cardano was doing, trying to do things differently, but they're getting left behind, right? Because everything else is pivoting in the direction of where the market wants. I still think you can make a lot of money with altcoins. Like think about it, you buying Cardano at 25 cents, and if it goes up to 50 cents, you make 100%. Like so that's better than most investments that you'll get out there anywhere. Like on a good year, the S&P is up 30%, right? But Cardano from 2020 in 2027 can be easily up 150%. Like, and that's not even anywhere near its previous all-time high. So like that's the way I look at altcoins. Like when you're buying in these bear market lows, is like I don't even need an all-time high. I just need a little bit. Like you know what I mean? Can I make it 2x? I'm okay with doubling my money. That's fine.
Speaking of the S&P, what do you think? Are we gonna? How far?
That looks so bad. It looks like a big, like elongated M pattern.
This is like just someone like a head and shoulders like this.
I'm waiting for that to hit the weekly 200-day moving average.
Down here.
Oh yeah. Okay. I see that. Yeah. Yeah. And I just every time you look, the last 3 times that the chart has come up and kind of curled at the top, you had these massive downtrends, and you're starting to see, I don't see how that's not a downtrend now. Like it's so much more pronounced now than like even just 2 weeks ago.
Right. And so this will continue to go up. So probably maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm looking around somewhere around 5,000 to get into the S&P 500. I got and even like my sister, like she just sold her house, and so she got money. She was like gonna put it into a fund. I'm like, don't do anything. I said, wait, because the markets are gonna go down this year. I said, don't like if you put your money in now and things are gonna go down, then like as long as you're okay with stomaching the dip, you're gonna be in the red for a little bit before you go back in the green, right?
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Let's just signal in on that is
Round the top, cut the crops. Yeah, Michael Navarro.
What's that?
I was just reading Mike's post. Rounded bottoms pay the bills, and rounded tops cut the crops. I like that.
Yeah. So, okay, what do you tell someone that then, they maybe came into some money, you got some money, or you're trying to decide what to do? Do you keep it in cash while you're on the sidelines? Do you put it into stable coin? Do you put it into Bitcoin? Like what do you do while you're just kind of waiting?
So I am not a financial advisor.
No,
I won't tell people what to do, but I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
What I'm doing is I am stacking cash as much as I possibly can on the side. I am dollar cost averaging into right now, but just Bitcoin. I'm not looking at traditional stuff yet. They move slower, so I believe it will take more time for things to go down. So I'm looking at Bitcoin every month. I buy a certain amount, but I like out of my full position of cash that I have for the month, I maybe allocate like 30-40%. into Bitcoin, and then I stack the cash just in case there's bigger dips. I have side cash going. So that's what I would recommend. Dollar cost average still, because we don't know where this is going to go. We're all speculating where the market's going to go. Like, I don't know where it's going to go. Nobody does, right? We could make a new all-time high before, like, this year. Like, it could happen, right? Like, so I know, and that in the back of my mind, especially with all this bullish news, the adoption that's happening, like this is what we've been waiting for like 10 years. If you've been in crypto, like this is what's been talked about for a long time. So it's hard not to entertain the idea that these cycles could break and it could totally change going forward. So I still have some Bitcoin and I'm dollar cost averaging. That's the safest thing to do. Dollar cost averaging is a strategy that's tested over time, but still have some dry powder. Dry powder is where you get those big chunks in. It really helps you compound your returns.
Are you keeping that in stablecoin?
I have a bunch of stable coin, yes, because especially for my profits from this bull run.
Yeah.
But also right now, a lot of stuff is just in cash and just keeping Canadian dollar, just waiting to allocate into the buy stable coin, like on my on ramps and off ramps, but just keeping it aside, just in case of emergencies. I don't want to have to be, in case I need the actual cash, I don't want to swap it from stable coin back to cash. So
that's, I guess, we have the ability to do that. I mean, no, when we lose to inflation every year, keeping it in cash, but at the same time, we don't. It's not like living in other countries where you're being inflated to nothing. Thank goodness. For now,
this time in the market, like Canada's talking about raising rates. So when you raise rates, the currency actually gets a little stronger.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that, and that's kind of what happened in 2022. We had record high inflation rates, and the dollar stayed very strong. So that's a time to be in cash because assets go down, right? So there's a time to be in cash. It's not a very long time. It's usually about a year because everything kind of moves around that business cycle now. Like I think we talked about it on our show. It was like the last time oil went on a run, it was like 3.5 years. It's like that 4-year cycle.
I'm gonna go to FedWatch and see. Let's see where we're at.
Yeah, I'm curious because like I'm hearing, it's weird. In the US, I'm hearing like potential 3 cuts this year. And Canada's talking about raising rates and our bond rates are going up. So like, we have a house affordability crisis here. House prices are just tanking here. And but now mortgage rates are going to go up, which is going to cause people to not afford a house even more. So like the price of the house is going to drop even further.
Well, that's why you got to get your Bitcoin, and then you got to get one of those new Fannie Mae Coinbase
I saw that.
Bitcoin mortgages.
I'm so interested to learn how that works because I would honestly, if I ever get the chance to buy like something in Florida, like in a condo or something, like I'm so down.
Buying in Bitcoin too.
I'd say I'm gonna be one of those what do you call them? The snowbirds from Canada going over to fucking Florida.
Man, I just don't know. I heard a lot of horror stories in Florida this year. Not quite warm enough. Atlanta is not warm enough for me anymore. I got to go farther south, man. I might have to go. I might have to go into the Caribbean.
There's gonna be an El Salvador on Bitcoin Island soon.
Senor. All right, so we're looking at FedWatch right here. After those comments, we went and checked it out. We're at about 4% chance of being raised to 475. It's 95.9%. That was a smooth jazz station in Chicago growing up. WNUA 95.9, 95.5, 95. It was either 5 or 9.
Smooth jazz.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the best, the absolute best. WNUA, absolutely. But right now it's showing 95, almost 96% chance of staying where we're at. But a little opportunity. We'll keep track of this. So the meeting is on the 29th. We'll all be in Vegas. It's the last day of the conference. It's the day before my birthday. Maybe we'll be raising rates. Look, the 27th is also on my chart that I've got here, Mike.
Yeah, see, April 29th, Canada also meets too for Bank of Canada. And that's where they're going to include their monetary policy report. So it's like a quarterly review of like where the future monetary policy is going. So if the US is doing that could be a big one for April. Watch out for that.
Dude, and so I've got on the weekly here how I have this thing going, right? With our first blue candle after the dip. And this is what I wanted to ask you on this. Like these 3 candles right here where we're kind of starting to level off, but they're still red. do we consider that part of the dip and where we start our consolidation is our first blue candle? It is a micro candle, but we're also on the weekly here where I've got this, right? And so with that being said, this consolidation period following those same parameters was 56 days based on the weekly. Doing that same thing, we get until the end of April. So look, we got rates potentially getting raised. We've got the end of a consolidation period. We've got the Bitcoin conference. We've got my birthday. There's either going to be a massive dump, which we all anticipate, or a pump to Valhalla. Let us know what you think is going to happen the week of my birthday.
Short and main, walk away.
We're going to crush those shorts. We're going to crush those long shorts from wherever we happen to be. We could be in the 70s down to 50,000. We are going to crush this next leg. I know we're all fucking prepared for it. We're all anticipating it. We're structurally looking at this. We're looking at where it's going to happen and how things would break. I know we'll be faked out at least one time, so don't get caught with your pants down. We're gonna do this right.
Hey, you can get faked out 3 times. You catch that move, it'll wipe out every single one of those losses and then some. Right.
Oh,
so that's like trading is all about probabilities. You're never going to be perfect, but keep trying.
Because look, you look right here. At the end of the day, and hindsight is always 2020. We'll talk about that, right? But look, there was several times where we were in our box, and this is the weekly. Remember, there were times where we came all the way down here, but we went right back up, and we closed those candles, at a specific level the entire time. And so we may see some wicks come down here into the low 60s, maybe even the high 50s. That might not be it. We might have a lot of volatility, a lot of opportunities, a lot of ups and downs to short and long and make some money, but the big move is going to happen, and that is going to be the win of all wins, man. And then we long, and then at that point, dude, we're waiting until we get the structure, the announcement, the signal to go long, and then we long that sucker up to $1 million.
That's the way, man. So the weekly, I'm just looking at that 200-day moving average. When you break down, you're starting to break down. I'll put my chart up 1 second. Oh, you got it still. Yeah. So if you look here on the weekly, we tagged 59K, the weekly 200-day moving average, and you'll notice, like when you look, like I trade the 21-day moving average, which is the SMMA 7 and the 200, and if you pay attention to those two moving averages, price reacts a certain way. Like for example, that my white line here is the SMMA 7. Price action will follow the SMMA. It'll stay close to it. When it gets too far from it, it comes back to it every single time, right? It just hugs that moving average. And then there's certain interactions with the SMMA and the 200. When they cross bullishly or bearishly, you get, a trend change, right? You get a nice move either to the upside or downside, but price will get away from that 21, come back. And I anticipate when we come back down to the 200-day moving average, we're probably going to bounce a bit. It's going to take some time to lose it. Like for example, like look at here, we lost it here. We came back up. We're just keep tagging it to stay around that 200 before we actually went back up. And if you look at like, let me look at 2022. Actually, let me go to my other chart because this perpetual chart doesn't show the 200-day moving average that far back. Okay. So if you look at 2022, we came down, we lost it, we came back, we stayed a couple weeks above it, and then we went down. And then now, as we clearly lost it, and now it's your resistance level. And we tagged it a couple times and lost it before we broke through it again. And then even here, like we lost it again. We lost it again. And then the bull market started, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to see the same thing around this weekly 200-day movement. It's going to be a fight to lose it. When we do, though, it's going to be a resistance level to get above again. So I anticipate, you can even just wait for it to break.
That's when we go long, right? Is when we finally break out, retest, and then bounce. That is the time to go long.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for for my model, I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to wait for that SMMA 7 to cross the 200-day moving average. Mm-hmm. And you can get in there, and then maybe you catch that legendary move, the whole bull run. That'd be nice. Man, you can get chopped out a couple times, but if you catch that move, like I think we calculated it on our show, it's like I think it was like $500. It can pay you like 53K or something like that on a long if you catch the move from here to the
generational run. Absolutely. And I fully expect this one to be a little bit sharper than most, right?
Yeah, because you have again,
We're
it
just
comes
probably not-
back to the simple, market dynamics. It's supply and demand. We have to argue there's more demand of Bitcoin now than there was last time because more institutions are getting in, and the supply is cut every 4 years due to the halving. So therefore, I have to believe that price is going to go up, right? Even if demand stays the same and we cut supply, price still goes up. So we're making new all-time highs, in my opinion. I don't see why we don't. I don't think I'll be wrong there.
Yeah.
Bitcoin will make new all-time high. Clip it, and then we'll come back to it in 2028.
There it is. Right. Okay, so that was a lot of information there, and I'm happy that we went through that. And I want to get through some more of these headlines because some of them are crazy. Like today, apparently, I didn't know about this until today, that there is 97 ETFs being like decided on today by the SEC. Have you heard anything about this?
No, that's crazy.
So this is a bullshit. I mean, part of this is bullshit, right? That I'm seeing because of the Alpha Pepe pre-sale. Like this is a paid-for article. Let's do this. Let's find a credible source here.
Can we go on to the SEC website and find what ETFs are like listed to be like? Wasn't there like a website you can go and track like when they have to make their decision, like the actual date that they have to make a decision by? I remember like during when Kathy Wood had her stuff going there, like she got rejected, and there was like an exact date, maximum date that they had to make a decision by.
Let's see. Oh, dude, the block annoys me because they have like this automatic login to Phantom Wallet, and like with the full screen, like it just like throws everything for a loop.
Oh no!
I said that this was a place where we can maybe able to find some of that information, just the ETFs. I'm usually looking over on, I don't know if you look at a lot of ETF information, but I actually look over on CoinGlass. We look at this every day. Is what's going on with the Bitcoin ETFs, and then we can look at the crypto ETFs, what's happening there. The last several days, you saw yesterday was a huge outflow. Unfortunately, we're going to continue to see these. There's a really big narrative that I don't, not too many people have seen. Where's the we need the line chart. Because Bitcoin tells the better story of it. Is this that when we have heavy outflow days, we start to negatively impacts the entire price of Bitcoin, right? And so when there's higher concentration of inflow, that brings the price up. So like, what you can see here is, the amount of green versus the amount of red is what brought us, to the Bitcoin price, and vice versa, right? Once you see a lot more red, you see the price start to dip.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, we have been starting to see more ETF inflows than outflows. And so that could suggest that we are headed in the other direction, but that's just one piece of the puzzle, man.
Well, in previous bear markets, we've had where we've come down, we made some sort of a bottom, and then we came up for months. Like I think we showed this on Trade Daddies that we came up like from the first bottom, we came up 42% before we inevitably rolled down to make a cycle bottom. Very well possible. It could happen. Like you can't just go down in a straight line like forever. Like you're gonna have a green month, and I believe March is still green if I'm not mistaken. Let me just take a quick peek over here.
Here, I'll bring your screen back up while I'm looking for something.
No, March is not green yet right now. It's actually flipping red.
It was a little bit yesterday when we looked at this, though, I think, or maybe it
was green yesterday, but then we dipped to 66K, right? We were at 68 yesterday, right? Yeah. So yeah, like how, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of red. Like you gotta have a green at some point, even if it's a small amount of green. You're gonna have a green month at some point. Like nothing goes down like this forever, but the faster you go down, the faster you come back up. Like and the more aggressive you come down, the more aggressive you come back up. So I expect some sort of a rally at some point this year. Maybe it's the summer. Maybe we come up and we have a nice summer. So anybody that's buying Bitcoin now could potentially, do a nice little swing trade in the summer.
Yeah, dude. I honestly think we're gonna have a lot of volatility, chop up and down. If you understand it, for a while we were talking about this the other day. For a while, I was actually not even comfortable shorting the market, just where things were and how I traded. But now that I understand it more, and it's been a few more years, like definitely not an issue. And being able to play both sides, you can capitalize on any one of the moves. And so, all right, so here's FEMAX putting out the article about the SEC ruling 91 crypto ETFs today. Let's see if we can figure out what we got. The single span token spot funds, staking ETFs, leverage products, multi-asset baskets. This is freaking huge. Now this says March 17 joint ruling, classified 16. We know about those.
Is it like an index fund with all those in it? Bloomberg Intelligence telling.
There's no way. There's just a lot of things. Not all 91 applications carry the same weight. So XRP is the furthest ahead. Sol and like. So it's just a lot of different ETFs. I think it's just a major scale up of availability for these different institutions to have different products to share for their clients or whatever, their shareholders. So like VanEck, 21 Shares, Bitwise, all have filed competing Hype products. So Hype's going to get a bunch. I know that there's another article that I had pulled up.
That is interesting.
This is a rumor.
But yeah, the floodgates are open. When you get the green light through all the regulations and companies, know how to operate now, and they're allowed to without the fear of being prosecuted. The floodgates open. We'll see what people choose to invest in, because that's going to be ultimately what if it's success or not, right?
You think XRP gets an ETF from BlackRock?
Oh fuck yeah!
It's a rumor. It's gonna happen. Like somebody's building.
Out of all, I believe XRP's got to get one over SHIB. I don't see why that wouldn't. There's already ETFs for XRP. I know, me and my in-laws, they have like a trailer up north that we go to, kind of like a cottage, right? And I was talking about crypto a couple years ago, and I was up there like last year, and I came up to me, he's like, yeah, you talked to me about crypto, I got into it, and just like most new people getting in, they didn't buy the actual coin, they bought the ETFs, but he bought XRP. It was XRP that he got into. So that was that. A lot of people in retail getting in through those avenues. And even me, like I was looking at my retirement fund, I'm looking at buying Bitcoin stock in there, because I have a tax-free savings account, so I can get Bitcoin returns in that ETF without paying any capital gains or any taxes on it, right?
That's a great deal. So one of the things I want to ask you about, like all these ETFs and stuff, and we had read an article about this week about an actual index fund coming out with about 30 different coins in it, and obviously some obscure ones and stuff. But when you think about TradFi and you think about index funds, like that's where the money is. Like, you have trillions, if not more, money that goes through that ecosystem. This is the beginning of the end until, again, institutions, they're setting the rails, we're building the products, the foundation is all happening from that level. Once they figure it out, and then retail will get involved. Is the index fund idea, is this a good thing for crypto, or do you think the beginning of ETFs was the downfall of crypto, at least from a retail standpoint? I know it's like two different questions, but
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. I think leverage is more of a negative than like options are more of a negative on the market than just like an ETF. Because an ETF, you're not really like trading leverage on it. You're like, it's just people buy and hold it, right? With the idea of maybe making a profit selling it. The index funds I like, because it kind of spreads your risk out. But the thing, if you're buying like can you imagine the dog ETF index fund where it's just dog coins? Yeah, I invest in dogs. And I don't know, crypto's volatile, right? Especially altcoins. So I don't know how much you're saving your risk. But for example, like, think about this. Like, I don't know what altcoin is going to be that 100x or that 500x, right? But if I'm an index fund and I got a piece of everything, or a piece of a lot, and I hit one runner, it's one avenue to throw money into just one thing, and then maybe hitting that runner that runs and takes over the portfolio. So that could be a potential I see for it. I'm probably not going to be investing in any dog coin ETFs, but no way. Bitcoin and Ethereum, I 100%, like, I'm definitely looking at actively investing in those ETFs for sure.
I'm with you. I need to look at some of this stuff, and we may do some of these kind of investments for our daughter too. So, because we've got the opportunity to set her up with some stuff, and so I got to take a look at that from a traditional standpoint as well. Next thing I want to talk about the Kraken having access to the Fed account and how they can basically do what a bank does. Good old Maxine Waters is she's trying to get this thing removed. I think she's a terrible example to use for this because she obviously doesn't understand. There's no way she would understand crypto. She's a dinosaur. But does this?
I know now. I'm trying to look at who this lady is. I've seen her before. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, do we have? There's not in here. I'm gonna pull up in case anybody needs.
God, how old is she? 87 years old.
Oh, and she's always just like so annoying about like all this stuff. I mean, I'm sure she's a very nice lady. We're not saying that. Looks grouchy.
I don't know. How do you try to talk about technology when you're 87 years old? You don't know.
I'm saying, man, you can't be the one to say, you shouldn't have access. Like you're just the old guard. And the banks are good. Look, we already know this because of the Clarity Act, and the banks they're not going out without a fight. They're going to say no, and so she's part of that. She is clearly part of it, saying like, no, this shouldn't be the thing.
Dude, I bet you, if you were to look in her purse, she's got a fucking checkbook.
Oh, yes.
Do you take checks, son? Yeah, absolutely. Like this should be an age limit of people being in politics, because especially in a world where technology is rapidly advancing, you need to get on the curb, or else you fall behind as a country, really, because technology is ultimately what makes the productivity and then your GDP of a country a lot higher. So you need to move. And when you have people like this just making it harder for things to pass, this is the problem with democracy and the West here. We have a lot of bureaucracy, and it's very hard to get things done, especially if you don't have like a majority government and you have an opposition that's fighting you on it. Whereas I'm not advocating for communism, but when the boss says we're doing this and it gets done, right? Like
there's something to be said about all that stuff. And
yeah, there's good and bad to every system, but like you need less bureaucracy just to get productivity. And that's why I like what Trump has been doing, because he's just like, we're getting stuff done. We're just gonna do it. Like it's gonna piss some people off, but we're gonna get it done. And we kind of need something like that in Canada.
I think a lot of places need that. And again, like the tone and tenor, it might not be everybody's favorite, but the act of getting shit done. And I think getting the respect back from some of the world in some of the places where, I think because we're brazen enough to do the things we're doing or say we're doing. And I'm not saying everything's right or wrong. Don't get me wrong. But the whole idea of at least making the decisions that ultimately are probably in the best interest of everybody.
I was talking to my wife about this, and I brought it up this way. I said, when I tell my daughter you can't have chocolate right now, like it's not good for you, she ain't happy about it.
Yeah,
but it's better for her, right? So like Trump's doing stuff. Maybe he's not doing it in the nicest way. Maybe it comes across as an asshole, but I think a lot of the stuff he's doing is better for the country long term. Right? It's kind of like that parent thing. It's like, hey man, I gotta be a parent. You ain't gonna like it, but like I'm doing what's best for you.
Yeah, that's always one of the hardest things, right? Because look, but I think going back to the story, Maxine Water is not the parent here. She's not just the parent telling us what's right, just to bring it full circle. But no, I understand what you're saying 100%. Let's do this. We got just a few more things to go through, and then we can wrap it up.
How did Kraken get that over like Coinbase? That's what when I saw the Kraken, really like I've expected like Coinbase to be getting that deal or something like that. I was very surprised to see that. But hey, good for Kraken. That's huge. I've always said exchanges, like the crypto exchanges, like Binance, like, those are the new banks.
Oh, 100%.
Like the traditional banks, they got to either do what those guys are doing, or they're going to get left in the dust.
I think Coinbase, there's no way Coinbase could be awarded that, only because like it would just be way too much monopolistic activity, especially with the stablecoin stuff. Like how does Brian Armstrong get the final say, or at least that the Clarity Act's going to move forward? Like And I'm like, you know, there's what sucks is that it's their business model that's at stake, but it's also the retail's ability to make money for staking that's
Mhm.
at stake when it comes to them pausing. And so it ultimately is good for Coinbase. And I think that's why, it's their business model is really good for retail, but the banks don't want that. So like, speaking of banks, the CBDC, like we didn't want this bipartisan housing. They did approve a ban here in the U.S. until 2030 on CBDCs. What do you think about this? Because like all over the world, we've seen in Asia, like over in China, they're doing some CBDC activity over in was it Norway? I believe, yeah, the Nords Bank, I believe is what it was called over in Norway. Like they're facilitating CBDCs with several countries. There's a lot of countries that are starting to look at these things. I don't think it's very good. I think CBDCs are a bad thing, but we've said no here in the US. How do you feel about CBDCs?
Um, I don't think anybody should have a CBDC. This is the problem with with the blockchain. Like the downside of it is like every transaction is public, right? So, if I go buy an apple from a farmer on the side of the road, the government doesn't need to know I bought that, right? Um, I never thought that the US was going to adopt a CBDC. I always assumed they would just adopt whatever is already out there, whether it be USDC or Tether, right? Um, I think they're going to just choose to use one of those two. Like, why build something new when there's something that works that already built? And for me, Tether's like, hey, we're one of the biggest treasury buyers of the US, so use us. Like that's like the thing I would see. But
Have you
I
seen
still think fiat's going to exist. I don't think like physical cash is going anywhere for a long time. There's just it's a generational thing. Like people, maybe like our kids will grow up and not see the value of holding cash, right?
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like if it was our generation, right? Like we watched like the digital age come, like we watched the internet, and then we watched actual like the phase out of fiat. Like
We're literally witnessing the change of the entire financial system right now before our eyes, right? So like yeah, probably like absolutely.
generational opportunity. You know what I mean? Like these things happen very few times where we happen to be living through this, and that's why it is everybody's like utmost importance to understand like where things are headed. That's why we shift a lot into looking at capital markets and tokenization and where this attention is going, where the money is moving, because that is the opportunity. If you get caught on the right side of this opportunity moving forward, it's gonna be a different ballgame, because this is the shift. This is like you always talk about like the next industrial revolution, and like this is all of it. Like this is everything convening at one time. It's converging into this new idea of where finance is heading, and that's where the opportunity is.
I saw a video talking about like where the world is going. We're moving to a more multipolar world instead of globalization. So we lived in up till now into like a system where it's like a rules based system. China was the producer of the of products for the world. The USA was the the police, and all countries work together. But now trust is eroding and trade is eroding. So now, it makes sense to have these, these digital, currencies go for settlement. Even just Swift, the Swift settlement system, takes a couple of business days to get a transaction through, where now we can just settle a transaction instantly. So I don't got to trust this country. We're going to do our trade. And then like, I just want to make sure I get my money right away. And boom, blockchain is the way to do it.
I love that, man. You can just go like this, mic drop.
Boop, done. Like when you think about it that way, it's like, how do you not see digital currencies as being the future of transactions? Like I just don't. It's hard to make a case the other way. You know what I mean? But I still think the average Joe's gonna have cash. Like cash will always exist. I don't see a world where it doesn't.
The whole of the bank the unbanked, man. I feel like that whole philosophy got thrown out the window a long time ago. That's not necessarily that's not necessarily the right idea or concept for where digital assets are headed. Do you think the digital asset treasury thing is going to become a little bit more mainstream?
Yeah. Well, it already is. Like everything in a bank is just like like some numbers on a spreadsheet, right? When they print money, it's not actually printing money. It's changing a couple decimal points on a computer, right? It's all fake money. That's right.
Speaking of the banks, have you heard of and we've talked about them on this show, so I'm sure maybe you've heard about it from here, maybe not. but the deposit tokens that they're using, they're not quite stable coins anymore. Deposit tokens are what a lot of the banks are starting to mess around with, and I feel like that's their ability to gatekeep. Continuing gatekeeping is create a technology that is a inside infrastructure. It is, think about like the intranet versus the internet, but it is how you access the bank system. You've got to get into their system. You got to use your digital dollars to get into the bank.
It's gonna be, the big banks are probably going to have their own private blockchains. It's not going to be like, the Bitcoin network, Ethereum network. They're all going to have their own private blockchains. You kind of saw it in Canada. Canada did a treasury transaction recently, and they used something called Hyperledger, which is not an actual like crypto token or anything like that. It's a blockchain made for enterprise. So you'll see those technologies. They want privacy. They don't want everyone to see what they're doing, right? Because like they want to, do their tricks, right? So governments are going to not, or if governments use blockchain, they're going to use a private blockchain. They're going to use something, that we can't see what they're doing. So it's inevitable. The technology's there. Now the on ramps, like it will probably connect to the blockchain where you can like look at Robinhood. You can go ahead and already put US dollars into stable coins and start investing in crypto from there. Like you'll have your on ramps, but I still think like the banks will have their own stable coin, even like they'll have their own token, and that will be what you trade amongst them. Like the banks will have their own trading platform, and you can trade digital assets on there. It's all IOUs. You're not actually holding the underlying asset, but you get a piece of it. Maybe you can withdraw. You probably could withdraw, but like who knows, right? Like they're gonna have, if you're allowed to withdraw it, they're gonna have to hold those underlying assets for for the deposits, right?
Right.
But God, I would never put my crypto in a bank. Never. Can you imagine? Just like I'd like to withdraw like 0.1 BTC. What do you need this money for? Like it's gonna be the same shit. Like,
yeah, but I should have just kept self custody. Why did I give? No,
never, don't do it, please.
Okay, so what if that happens though? What if that's part of the like the specifications or the protocols for if you wanted to get a Bitcoin mortgage, you had to then send your Bitcoin to the bank?
Well, if I was to do a Bitcoin mortgage, it would be a percentage of my Bitcoin portfolio that I'm okay with doing that, right? I would never ever risk the whole bag for that. I love the idea though, like because you think about it, like it's almost like a mortgage that pays itself. Because if Bitcoin continues to go up in price, then if, depending on when you get the mortgage, if you time it right with the market, say for example, like right now you borrow and you get a mortgage now in a bull market, you pay off the house maybe by next bull run. Like it's a really interesting idea. People have been lending against their Bitcoin for a while. There's a lot of platforms that do it, and if you do it right, it can be very lucrative. I love the idea with the mortgages. Like you're buying an asset with an asset and they both grow in value. I love it. Like it makes total sense. I don't see why you couldn't do it. There'll be some growing pains where people over leverage and don't realize, oh shit, there's a bear market. We didn't realize that. And then maybe lose your house or have to add.
That is going to be the time to pick up a house on the cheap when someone realizes that they just went all in on their Bitcoin mortgage and Bitcoin has started to drop.
Dude, honestly, I gotta look into that because I'm curious if there's something in Canada, because right now house prices in Canada are so low.
Oh, really?
We're at like 2008 financial crisis kind of levels of like price drops in houses, and it's like I'm starting to think like, damn, like opportunity is really good. Even like condos in Toronto have taken the biggest hit. Like so, maybe at some point real estate might be an option here in Canada. So if I can buy with my Bitcoin, it'd be much better.
I love that. Hell yeah. Well, those are all the headlines that I had. That was fun to kind of just go through this and talk about it and how it's all related and how it's all working. And we're seeing
I can check crypto all day, bro.
Yeah, all day. It is now 9:26. We got 4 minutes until the markets open up. I'll pull up, pull the Bitcoin chart really quick. If you can look at this, I mean, I know things are not looking good today, but even if we came back up here to the 67 level, that's about 1,000 up. I think it'd be about normal activity for a crypto day with a big dip. So that's where the daily VWAP structure is showing us. Previous daily is a little bit higher than that. I wouldn't expect that to happen today, but I always love to see these VWAPs get hit. So watch for a little bit of flipping and flopping for the next little bit, but maybe a push up to there and then come back down to the levels we're at right now. That's how I see it working out, but you never know. What do you think?
So I just pulled up the 15-minute chart because you just mentioned the market's going to open, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let's look at our 15-minute here, and this is what I got. Like, we're kind of making a bear flag on the 15-minute. We came back to the 21 again. Price always comes back to the 21. Like, look at the downtrend. It's down, sideways consolidation, back to 21 drop. So do we have another leg down here to like 65? So I'm curious to see when market opens, what's going to happen. Do we just pump out of this and validate this? And if we do that, we'll probably do something like this. We'll probably like do this inverted head and shoulders right here. If we were to come back up. So we'd probably come back up to this level here, which would be around 67.
Yep.
But if this plays out, then you're probably looking at a break of this down to 65 too. So we'll see a market open in what, 2 minutes. We'll see if it just chooses violence. If it just wakes up and chooses violence.
We may see it go touch that VWAP and then come back down. You never know.
Well, yeah. Again, you were dumping on throughout the night. So like at some point, like we've had 3 days of very nasty price action. So I would assume it rally at some point, a relief rally somewhere.
And you know what? It sounds good for a Friday relief rally. You know why? Because we know liquidity is not as high. So, the people who have made their money shorten, they're out. So the bulls are still around because they got fucking smoked out this week. So they're ready to throw some trades in, and we might see this thing pump. Who knows? If not a financial advisor, don't throw in a long based on what I just said there. But
that Sunday night pumps seem to be a thing.
I'm just saying, watch your charts, pay attention. Hey, Mike, I appreciate you coming on here, man. This was fun.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Definitely want to have more guests. So if you guys are watching, you're like, shit, I would like to do that. Drop me a message, shoot a comment, shoot me an email, whatever it may be. We'll get someone sketch up. But yeah, dude, let's do this again. You and I loved it.
Awesome, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. We got a minute. The markets are opening. Go trade. Join the squad. I don't have the QR code. We're not going to do that anymore because that's bad news.
Yeah, don't scan QR codes, right?
No QR codes. The link's in the description. I know that. So find it on the YouTube. All right, guys. We'll have a great weekend. Remember to get yourself 1% better. And we will see you on Monday. I'll be doing the macro minutes all throughout the weekend. I'm going to go video format on those starting this weekend. So hope you guys enjoy them. Thanks again, Mike.
Peace.
Yo.